Hi, my name's Jeff Sailing. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Startup NV. And thanks for coming out to Pitch Day for 100K. It's always a great day to pitch. Wednesdays aren't my favorite day. Pitch days are my favorite day. And today we're going to hear from Rick from Ovulus. And congratulations to Ken and Rick, because we screen about 15 or 20 companies for every person who gets here on Pitch Day to actually pitch. So I know it's a bit of it's work to get here, and thanks for doing it. And we really appreciate it. And we can't wait to hear from you. Startup NV is Nevada's statewide nonprofit startup accelerator and business incubator. We operate 5 nonprofit programs for entrepreneurs or founders, all the way from the idea stage through heavy growth and investment. We also operate 4 investment funds or syndicates to invest in those companies. Our nonprofit is supported by government grants and corporate sponsors in the short term, and over the long term by our accelerator companies who give a tiny piece of equity or donate a tiny piece of equity to the nonprofit. And we all hope that that's going to be worth a lot of money one day. We won't have to go for corporate sponsors and government grants. But in the meantime, that's how we do it. And the investors also give back 5% of their profit to the nonprofit as well. So when the founders make money and the investors make money, the nonprofit benefits. It's a really awesome circle of life there, if you will. Now we run Pitch Day for 100K fortnightly on Wednesdays, where companies come to pitch for the Q&A and for entry into our accelerator program. And that comes with an investment from Fund NV, our pre-seed fund. That's added to by our investor syndicate. On average, the companies that get into our accelerator raise about $125,000 from us. And that's matched by the state of Nevada's SSBCI program. So far, since 2021, we've made 19 direct investments. They ranged anywhere from $50,000 to $1.8 million. And our latest completed investment was on May 8th. And we have one pending right now. So this is something that happens 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year, depending on exactly what we're up to in any given year. Now for the legal disclaimer. The founders that are pitching today are pitching for investment from our SEC-approved venture capital fund and our accredited investor syndicate. The pitches are directed to those investors. Now, we invite the whole community to attend for educational purposes, like learning how to see other people pitch. Kind of like Shark Tank, hopefully not quite as mean. And the educational component to all of this is critical to our economic development mission here in Nevada. So once again, the pitches today are not a general solicitation to the general public, because that wouldn't be legal. For more information on how that all works, what this accredited investor stuff is, or if you want to register to pitch, just hit our website at startupnv.org. Okay, end of disclaimer. So our nonprofit work would not be possible without the financial help from grants and our sponsors, the City of Las Vegas, Clark County, the Nevada Governor's Office of Economic Development, as we call them, GOED, the EDA, Eide Bailey, and KPMG. So thanks to those organizations for their support. Just a couple other announcements, and then we'll get going. So first, on the 27th, we have a finance panel. We're going to be doing a finance panel right here in this room, and we're going to be talking about early stage investment as an asset class and how to invest in it and why it's a good thing and where it works and where it doesn't. So please look out for the announcements on that. Come on out for it. There'll be a few of us on the panel, and we'll be taking questions from the room. So please come out for that. Next, there's a program that we're running at Allegiant Stadium called Raiders Den, and it's teaching high school students about entrepreneurship. So if you have a high school student in the Las Vegas area, particularly if they're in a Title I school, have them check out the Allegiant Stadium website and look for Raiders Den. It's a really interesting program, and I think the students who come out for it starts on July 13th and runs for about 3 weeks. They come out for about 3 or 4 hours a day for 2 or 3 days a week for about 3 weeks. The next thing is we have a gaming accelerator that we're just starting to get underway. So we have a professional studio that develops games that has IP. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're interested in developing a gaming company, but you're not a coder, you don't have the skills to do that, go on our website and look for the gaming accelerator. It may be something that you want to take on, because our program provides all the technical resources. It provides all of the licensable assets. You end up owning, I'll say, a mid-teens percentage of the company. You don't have to put any money in. You essentially become a project manager for this company, and then you have a lot of equity in it. You learn how to create a gaming company. by doing that. And hopefully that gaming company grows up to be something really big. At least we hope so, because we're putting a lot of our resources into making that a successful program. And then finally, we passed a new law and the governor signed it just last week. It's Assembly Bill 75. It's called the Nevada Certified Investor. We've changed the accredited investor standard in Nevada for Nevada investors investing in Nevada businesses. So instead of having to earn $200,000 a year on W-2 or have $1 million of net worth outside your principal residence in order to invest in these private companies like the ones you're going to see today, you now have to earn $100,000 a year or more. Or if you own a business and you're not a W-2 person, you're a gig person or you have a business, you just have to earn more. You have to gross more than 2.5 times the median wage, which equates to right now about $200,000. So if your business is grossing more than 200, you can also invest. So for founders, it gives them a new source of potential investors. And for investors who are sort of everyday people, you can now invest in these companies if you want. Nobody's putting a gun to your head, but you can if you want. So we're going to be putting together some programs to take advantage of this Nevada Certified Investor. And we should be thanking Speaker Yeager because he sponsored the bill, Secretary of State Cisco Aguilar, because he's the one that put the regulatory oomph behind it and got behind it. And hopefully we're going to be putting funds together with ourselves and with some of the chambers of commerce to take advantage of this intrastate investing scenario that we've created for Nevada. It's really unique. A lot of states are looking at us as an example of something that's creative and that a lot of other states want to do as well. So that's all of our announcements for today. So first up today.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody who made it out here. I appreciate you coming. I am Rick Nelson from Ovulus Data, and as was inferred a minute ago, there's just a little difference in our data processing than what you've seen before. In fact, if you've been watching the news lately, I'm sure you're thinking that I'm going to be talking about AI. Everybody's talking about AI. Well, in fact, I am, except just not the AI you might jump to conclusions. I'm talking about artificial insemination. Artificial insemination is a key to livestock management in the developed world. The truth that's not well understood is that in, for instance, the hog industry, it can be 80 or 90% successful, which leaves a big gap, meaning that there's room for improvement. A large pork producer was well aware of this, Smithfield, and as they reviewed the data, they asked, is there a way they could work with us to develop a solution to improve the success rate of AI? We decided there was. And the solution would come in the form of wearable sensors, ones that would actually be put on the back end of hogs to detect when they were going into estrus, that is, when they are getting ready to be bred. Why is this important? Many reasons, but the two most important reasons why this is of value to the farmer today is that through timely alerting of when the pig should be bred, you can improve the productivity of the herd, in other words, fewer failed breedings, but also you can do it in a much more efficient manner so that they're not wasting as much money on labor and supplies because the current methods are very archaic and not exact. What kind of savings? Well, this is important. For Smithfield, as an example, they have about 800,000 breeding sows. Those 800,000 are scattered over several farms. They're not all in one big barn. But if we could improve their productivity just 5%, which you can't see very well here, but it's 5%, it would mean to Smithfield annually over $43 million in increased profit through savings and increased productivity. For an average pig farmer, because obviously not all farms have 800,000 sows, but an average pig farmer with just 1,000 sows, they would be able to realize at least $50,000 a year in improved profitability through savings and productivity. If the top 10 producers in the hog industry in the US only adopt our system and we deliver the productivity we believe, it would save in those 10 producers, excuse me, $250 million per year, increasing their profit by over $100 million per year, net of expense of our system. How do we do it? In the simplest terms, without getting into too much technicality, and I'm glad to get into as much technicality as any of you want. We do it through a new patent pending system, which takes heat flux sensors. What are heat flux sensors? They're devices, they're a very new type of device that is intended to measure the total amount of heat coming through an area, not just the temperature at that point. A thermometer measures the temperature at some point on your skin, under your tongue, etc. A heat flux sensor actually measures the total number of calories coming out of the core of the body over an area and calculates what the temperature is in the core of the pig. This is also augmented by what's called blood perfusion technology, which is the driving force for delivering those calories, that heat out of the core. We're integrating both of those into a new advanced sensor that has never been used in livestock management to date. Our alerts that tell the farmer when to inseminate those pigs can be sent to a tablet, as we have a mock-up here, a smartphone, via email, via computer, laptop, or any other alerting system that they choose that can be hooked to the internet. Now, what does our system look like? Here's a real live example. This is my favorite. This is Hannah the hog at one of our early field tests. And you can see she's wearing our device, this device to be exact. This is the sensor here. I don't know if those of you out there can see it, but it is a small sensor that is taped next to the sex organs of the pig. The larger piece is battery, processor, radio, etc. It's adhered with a form of surgical tape so that it not only stays on, but it can be removed, because it only needs to be there 5 to 7 days. Within those 5 to 7 days, we will detect a very specific temperature pattern that indicates that hog is ready for breeding. Remember, we're not looking for a temperature. We're looking for a temperature pattern. Now, I mentioned the top 10 producers in the United States before. Okay, that's this group right here. But we are only planning on taking on about a third. We think we can sign up 3 of the top 10 we're in business. That gives us a sum of over $16 million in revenue by the 3rd year. If we expand beyond the top 10, we can get out over close to $2 billion. And again, this is US only. If we go worldwide, the number is astronomical. It says that there's a market for this business of in excess of $15 billion. Now, forget that number. That number is not accurate, because the problem with this number in worldwide is limited by technological availability. There are parts of Vietnam that are heavy, heavy hog producers that have no internet. There are parts of China that are heavy hog producers and have excellent internet. Same with Germany, Spain, etc. So there are markets where this will work, and there are going to be a lot of small rural markets where this is not applicable. We don't need those. We can be very profitable just in the technologically advanced first world markets. How's it priced to the user? It's very affordable from their perspective. A new tag, $16. Plus, with that comes a license, 10-day license for data collection. Because remember, the hog's only going to be going through this estrus period for a short number of days. They can take this off and apply for a reuse license, simple over the internet. And this can then be reactivated, reapplied, and move on to the next hog. In other words, every month they can recycle their stock of tags. We know that some of these tags will get destroyed. They'll fall through the slat floors, they'll get lost somehow, crushed. We don't know what'll happen, but we're planning on a loss. So you can see here that what we're talking about is month one, 100% new, obviously, but then going to 80% new with 20% replacement and so on, meaning that their cost for these tags actually gets averaged down. But we're fine, because the cost that we're going to charge them for reactivation is actually the number that we're going to be neutral at, whether they buy a new one or reactivate. $6 is our income per tag. And you can see over the course of a year for 1,000 sow farm that their cost would be about $26,000 per year. But remember, they're making many times more of that. They're making money on this system from month one. Now, just remember, pork is a very critical market. A lot of people don't recognize this or know this, but there's actually more pork consumed than beef. Poultry is the largest. And you can see that the United States is only the third largest. If we look at the EU, there are more than twice as many hogs in production in the EU than there are in the US. So if we just stayed in the US, Canada, and Mexico, plus penetrated a small part of the EU, the numbers become truly staggering in terms of our monthly revenue. This is the team that put this all together. There's three handsome guys and me on here. I brought with me Dr. Terry Coffey, who is a renowned animal nutritionist and knows all there is to know about raising pork. He'll take all the hard questions.
So thank you so much, Rick, for the presentation. It was really interesting. Over to you, Jeff.
Thanks to everybody who participated with questions, everybody who watched online and here in the room. So just a few program notes as we wrap up. Now, investors, if you're curious about how to do this thing that we do called startup investing, we have 4 different places where you can engage with us. One is Fund NV2, which is pre-seed fund that invests in companies exactly like the ones you saw today. Angel NV is a annual angel conference where we teach the art and science of angel investing. So that we do that in the spring. We just finished that cohort. So that'll be back again in January. So keep an eye out for Angel NV if that's something you're interested in. Our seed fund, 1864, has a $10 million fund. We invest at companies at a little bit further along stage than the ones you saw today. Maybe after these guys have been in the market for a year or two and they're making $500,000, $600,000 a year in top line sales, then those are the kind of companies after they've been around for a bit. That's what 1864 invests in. And in our syndicate, we put deal terms and deal memos together all the time. And we just send them out to our group. It's about 150 people right now to say, hey, our fund may be investing, maybe it's not investing, but this is a deal that we think is cool and you should invest in. So if you're interested in any of that, go to Startup NV, hit the investor page and just say, I'm interested, indicate what, we'll set up a meeting and we'll just talk about whatever's right for you and at your investment level and maturity level and all the rest of that stuff. So thanks again to the founders who pitched today, to all who listened in and ask questions. That's the key to this, is giving these founders questions, tough questions to answer so that they're prepared, not only for us, but for any other investors that they might talk to. Now, we're going to see you right back here again in 2 weeks at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Until then, take care of yourself. And if you can, someone else too. Thanks very much.